I contemplate the moment in the garden, the idea of allowing your own crucifixion.
The first time the women's national team requested bonuses equivalent to those received by the men's national team was in January 2016. The United States Soccer Federation rejected that proposal, however, because the women's national team was not asking for a pay-to-play agreement similar to the men's national team. Instead, it was asking for all the upsides of the men's national team CBA, namely higher bonuses, without any of the drawbacks. No base salary. In May 2016, the United States Soccer Federation offered the women's national team a pay-to-play proposal similar to the men's national team CBA, but the women's national team rejected it, preferring an agreement that involves some elements of guaranteed compensation. So what did this look like in actual salary? So come to find out, the women actually earned more money than the men in total pay, but also on a per-game basis. The men's national team are actually the ones being underpaid based on the numbers. And one of the more interesting pieces about this is if the teams switch contracts, the women's national team would have gotten paid more under the men's deal, but the men's national team would have also been paid more under the women's deal. Now, after the judge threw out this lawsuit, Joe Biden wrote this: "To the women's U.S. national team, don't give up the fight. This is not over. And to U.S. soccer, equal pay now, or else when I'm president, you can go elsewhere for World Cup funding."
Let's take a look with some play-by-play analysis.
With the most recent hack by the Russians, would you say that this means
We're
that...
not sure it's the Russians.
Okay. With
I
this most...
I got a brief as I was on the plane. That's why it was late getting off the plane. I got a brief and
Brain stops working mid-thought when talking about national security. Sure makes me feel more secure.
You're right.
all right.
Would you like your receipt?
Oh, he was just paying. At least we know his caregivers give him a little spending money.
Might be, sir.
I'll be in better shape to talk to you about it. Hang on a second.
We need to have.
Here you can see him finding out what he really thinks on the matter by referring to note cards that someone else wrote for him. Probably gonna be deep thoughts if they require note cards.
I'll tell you what they sent me. Okay. The idea. First of all, we're not sure who it is for certain. Number one. And what I did, I directed the full resources of the government to assist in a response if we determine what else you need.
Oh, there goes a squirrel. Back to national security.
Nothing. You're all set.
Okay. And the fact is that I directed the intelligence community to give me a deep dive on what's happened, and I'll know better tomorrow. And if it is either with the knowledge of and or a consequence of Russia, then I told Putin we will respond.
Well, that's a total of 3 points that would be impossible to just remember, especially when you've just been briefed on the plane, as he mentioned.
And so the Soviets had some innate momentum for decades, and then eventually they just played out everything they could do. And then, they're talking about the 18th five-year plan in, 1986 or something, and everyone knew it was a joke. And the Soviets in the system said, they pretend to pay us and we pretend to work. They pretend to pay us and we pretend to work. Joe Biden, God help him, does not seem to have all of his marbles in one place.
He's got like 2 marbles left.
Right. And it's a tragedy. But this is the last gasp of the system, and so they pretend to have a president and, we pretend to respect the system. They pretend to have a president and, we pretend to respect the system.
Okay. With
I
this most...
got a brief as I was on the plane. That's why it was late getting off the plane. I got a brief and
I contemplate the moment in the garden, the idea of allowing your own crucifixion.